ready. So get ready.
That's how we gonna do the intro. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this beautiful Saturday.
It's gorgeous outside.
We are Intellectual Foreplay. My name is Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm sitting next to
K. Nicole.
And we are here to bring the energy for our first-time listeners. Intellectual Foreplay is our safe place for us to discuss anything controversial among a group of entrepreneurs, professionals, young people, old people.
And we just regular old adults who know how to process a conversation like a decent human being.
Without getting in their
bag.
Feelings.
Get out the
But if you
bag.
get in your feelings,
that's fine. We'll let you.
We will not judge you here.
You get 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And then we're
fame.
moving on to the next subject because this is what we do. We do intellect. We don't do emotions. We're like acting like real bullies right now.
All right, so we're going to get started. Intellectual Foreplay.
Why is the broadcast interrupted?
Last week, I apologize. I was not in the right frame of mind to approach the mic. I needed a little time, but we here now, and we got a host of topics. There's been a whole lot going on in social media.
Sagacity, Teresa, Deidre.
We got. Yeah, let's talk to the people.
Inez.
Welcome, Sagacity. Waka.
What up, family? Welcome. We see y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Yes, everybody. We're going to give people some time to
we're going to work the conjugation to fill the pews.
Yes. Come on in my room. Come on in my room. Did you see that meme? The lady, it was an older woman. It was like, name that song she would lead. That picture was hilarious. You know how you always got a Sister Johnson in the congregation.
Yes.
But here we go. My boy J. Cole
KOD
came with some heat.
And I lived for it.
We didn't have a chance to even to talk about the album last week because I was kind of interested. I was waiting to see if you would say something on Facebook about it.
Were you?
Yeah, I kind of was looking for your unbiased, unfiltered perspective on it.
I did say he was very much an Aquarius on this album.
Okay, yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah, I did. And this was my upon first play.
Right.
I actually listened to it for my second time straight through this morning.
Yeah, second. I think I'm about 23 times in.
You know what it is? You know why? Because I don't expect less from J. Cole.
Right.
So I wasn't trying to process the quality of his work. I just wanted to know what he was saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like the one thing that, what up, Bianca? The one thing that kind of got me a little intrigued was how much he switched his style up. It was very purposeful. And I think it was perfectly curated for what he was trying to convey.
When J. Cole raps, a lot of magical things can happen. I think what I wasn't looking for, I know J. Cole is how he is with his production. I know we're all dying for him to get a producer to give him some flames.
Yeah.
I know we're all dying for a Big Sean feature or,
anything.
Something of commercial substance, but that's just not him. I kind of respect
He's
him.
So hip hop.
Right.
The fact that he can make another album with no features.
And how'd it do? Did it go platinum yet?
I don't even know.
I had to check that out. People, did it go platinum? Let me know. But also, one thing that was just genius about it, he dissed people and gave them bars and jewels all in the same
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? But it was brilliant, and it was masterfully developed. You can't even, if I'm Tekashi 6ix9ine and I hear that, I can't take offense to it.
I mean, because where's the lie? You can't. I remember I was on Heavy Thinking. Shout out to Delano, or what does he call Barbarian? And he said, you can create your own opinions, but you can't create your own facts.
Word, that's deep.
And so real talk is one of those things where Cherish, shout out to Cherish. We got Ye. We here for Ye.
I saw that.
Trust me, Ye is definitely that dude right now. We love him. But back to J. Cole. He's definitely one of them folks where you can't get mad at what he's saying because there's just no lie in what he's saying. He's putting the mirror up to your face and showing you what you look like, and if you have any sense of self-awareness, you can't even deny what he's saying.
Right.
And you know what? That's a point where you can grow. That's a teachable moment to everybody in hip hop who needs when he gave that to him.
And he also even stated he's giving them room to have their moment and have their time. Just be wary. You gotta eventually be able to rap, in order for you to sustain, the level of success you're looking for. Like, is this
you're trendy right now?
You're trending right now. Is this a gimmick, or are you really trying to do this for real? For real, you know what I mean? And there aren't too many more timeless rappers that are legit in the game right now. I mean, a commercial artist, a commercial rapper that could probably have a little bit more longevity, just because of his flow. I'm gonna say Big Sean. I think he could rap. Like Big Sean can rap.
He can rap.
And I think that he knows how to get features and commercial beats to kind of stay in the club, or to kind of stay in somebody's top 10 countdown of some sort.
The Billboard of some sort.
Right.
I can follow you on that.
I have a weird confession.
Please.
I've been banging Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Get out.
For like a straight week.
Brother Ford.
Listen.
Brother Ford. What are you talking about?
I confess to sagacity over the past couple of days. All right, well, let me
Johnson's son started with the heat early.
You know what?
We gonna get to that.
Corey, go to work.
We gonna get to that, Mr. Son.
He on my roster today. But Tekashi 6ix9ine. Let me just speak on that briefly. Mm-hmm. I warmed up to a track of his. You know, the Gummo. All right, riding music and in the gym. I was lit. So I gave it a couple more listens. Uh-huh. I got into it with one of my students. Excuse me.
Ryan Biggs is like, bruh, 69?
So one of them, I'll explain. Fly Eagles fly, baby. Fly Eagles. So I'll explain. So this all originated from, I do an after school program. Shout out to BCO, Sam Saylor, Brothers Creating Opportunities. So
Big up.
I'm teaching the art of debating. I'm trying to have like a little league debate team called Ignite.
Is it all
Ignite
male inclusive?
I mean, if you want to come, we do need.
I do debates.
No, we could always use another woman to participate. Yeah, we could talk about that. Okay. So Ignite the Mind debate team, right? Mm-hmm. So we brought up music, and one of the guys, he's it's a correct artsy school. Mm-hmm. So they got musicians in there and whatever. So he says, well, people your age, you old people, always trying to give us, our new generation, a hard time when it comes to music. And I'm like, because your music is trash. And he said, y'all music is overrated. And I said, name 3 overrated artists from my generation. 3. Who do you think the first person he said?
Pop. 1.
That came up. And then he said Biggie Smalls was like ultimately the most overrated. And I looked at him and I said, are you out your mind? Are you out your I said, matter of fact, cool. And I said, get your audience. We're going to debate this right now. And I said, who's your guy right now? I said, who's in your iPod right now? He says, Tekashi 6ix9ine. I said, okay, so it is your opinion that Tekashi 6ix9ine is better than Biggie Smalls. He said, facts. Based on...
Sir.
I said, defend your statement right now. The cultural awareness, influence, hip-hop culture. Like, he was just going, and I'm just looking at him. And I said, word, recite a Tekashi 6ix9ine verse right now. The hottest one you could think of. The hottest one. And he's just sitting there like, let me Google it.
So Mike Morrow says Pac is overrated and Tupac is ass. Ryan says generational differences, which I agree, because our parents just talk about our music like that.
Well, if my dad told me, son, listen to this. James Brown, you got to know who James Brown is. James Brown is popping. That's not my generation.
But he took growing on us. I think like with enough exposure, you grew to appreciate the sound.
I was a kid. I was banging the 45s as a kid.
I was too.
Marvin Gaye, like Smokey. I respect the Motown sound so much. That's not my era, but I respect it so much that I will never tell somebody of this generation that, oh, your music doesn't have some sort of cultural relevance if it's actually good. So that's the problem. It's just not good.
So you guys, okay, so everybody wants to jump in on this yay thing.
All right, here we go.
So here's what I will say to y'all. Mr. Ford, Mr. Nice Guy has yet to hear Lift Yourself. I didn't. And I want you to hear it live on Intellectual Foreplay.
Oh, okay. Exclusive.
I think your first listen should be here. So I'm going to play this for you.
Yeah, here we go.
And I'm gonna just laugh. All right, hold on. Let's see if we can make this work. Hold on. All
right, so we got Kanye. Give us a second, yo. So we're gonna play a live exclusive track from Kanye
For those
West.
who haven't heard Lift Yourself by Kanye, we're going to play this for y'all. Some of y'all have heard about it, but Trevor has yet to hear it, so let's go. 1 second.
Here we go. Lift Yourself.
Let's see.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah. Yay, with the beat.
This is Jay. He's killing it right
I'm already all in on that hole. Let Ye be great, Bianca.
This is the first reaction, y'all.
Nah, Anthony, that's a different song. You're talking about
That's Ye versus the People.
Ye versus the People. Ye versus the People was hot though.
Stop watching. Just listen.
I'm listening.
You trying to see where we going with this?
No, the beat though. I'm with it. I'm with the beat.
Just listen.
I'm trying to listen.
You're trying to watch the feed. Just listen.
I'm listening. I got it.
Listen. Stop looking at your phone.
All right, I'm listening.
So first reaction, because you need to hear this. Like, it's important. Because this is the Kanye song I've been waiting for, to be honest with you. I knew it was coming. Stop, bro.
It's weird.
Wait. Just listen. Give it some time.
All right, so we got bars. What's happening right now?
Kanye is happening right now. Bars.
What? DJ, pull up.
By Kanye West. He just broke that single last night, everybody. That is his new single that he put out. He also put out Ye versus People.
Ye versus the People.
Which is actually on Apple Music. And this was the greatest thing Kanye has ever done in the history of Kanyeism.
Whoop did he? Yo, that's the name of this podcast. Whoop did he scoop?
Yo, people are not happy about this. This is hilarious. All
right, thoughts on Kanye West, people. First of all, Kanye's dropping a new album coming up. I can't wait for it. And for everybody that's saying boycott Kanye album, go to hell. I'm not boycotting Kanye's album.
Ever.
I understand why people are upset. Even the song Ye versus People, Tip is doing a good job. But whatever. I'm not a T.I. fan when it comes to his public opinion about a lot of stuff because he's a walking contradiction, but I get it. Kanye West has a responsibility to what? The people?
Right. So here's the thing. So Ryan Biggs is saying, I think he was clowning mumble rappers. Now, this is why I think Lift Yourself is probably the better song between that and the Ye versus the People, because he honestly made a statement that it does not matter. But people are sitting here like, oh, he's really losing it because he's supporting Trump. No. He's saying poopity scoop on a beat.
Like, what do you want him to rap about? That's pretty much what I got out of it. After listening to Ye versus the People.
He said, I love Kanye music and now I want to DDT his ass on the sidewalk. But that's you should be that upset about Migos.
Really?
You should be that upset about Lil Yachty and Lil Xan and all them cats that's coming out with this garbage music.
Kodak Black.
Because not for nothing, they still making money, making crap music, and y'all not out here actively supporting the better, more talented rappers that are putting pure music out.
Like J. Cole, because there was a lot of y'all on social media last week throwing a lot of shade and a lot of heat talking about J. Cole as Buns. Like, which one do you want? Do you want bars or do you want mumbles? It just seems like we're never really sad. Oh, J. Cole was a snoozer. He's boring. Blah blah blah. He came with some heat that's already making it on ESPN as soundtracks, and you know what I mean. Different movies, different songs coming up on commercials. You know what I mean? Shout out to J. Cole.
And you could support both, to be honest. But the fact is, because someone saying I support J. Cole, we are supporting them, but they call us haters. It's trash. No statement made. It was dumb. But it was mean. And here's another thing. Like, along with that question, who was Kanye responsible to? I think Kanye is responsible for what he puts out into the world. Mm-hmm. He's very accountable to himself. As long as he is representing himself as an artist and as an individual through his art, that is all he needs to be accountable for. Mm-hmm. And I think his drive to go against the grain, to challenge the status quo, that is what's making him a genius. Mm-hmm. We may not like how he does it. We may not like the experience of it, but we're talking about it. And that's exactly what artists are supposed to do. And he's turning hip hop into actual functional art.
A platform.
It's a platform, and it always has been. And to be honest, I think, and y'all probably gonna hate me for this, but I think that his positions are just as jarring and just as enlightening, and it's sparking just as many conversations as Public Enemy has, and as you know what I'm saying, as NWA has. So it may not be the same exact way, and it may not be ways that we appreciate, but they weren't being appreciated then either. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to be remembered for his audacity as an artist more so than just a producer and a lyricist. Right.
And just like you said, as far as appreciation goes, a lot of people weren't necessarily with the NWA movement. A lot of the older heads, a lot of the civil rights activists and the leaders, mm-hmm. they didn't like the message, mm-hmm. F the police. And, the way they came about it, which was raw.
They were steamrolling the CDs.
It spoke to a specific culture. But even like what Kanye said in one of his lyrics on the song, Ye versus People, there's a lot of people that are saying exactly what he's saying. Mm-hmm. Like every day on Facebook, people trash President Obama. I'm mm-hmm. lying. People that look like us. Mm-hmm. Oh, Obama ain't do nothing for Chicago. Corey, you one of them. Johnson, mm-hmm. you one of them. Obama don't do nothing in president for black people. This, that, and the third. So why is it that we expect all black people to go the Democrat route? Malcolm X said that. Democrats haven't really done much for us back in 1965. That whole movement. We voting for Democrats for what? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that I support Kanye's public appearance with Donald Trump. I understood after his explanation through his lyrics what he was trying to do, kind of like a rebranding almost.
It's kind of like what black people do with the word nigga.
Right.
It's exactly what he decided to do. He decided to take control of this image
and make it look like something better for our culture.
Right. It's not working, but nice try. Ryan Biggs says Jay Against the People has a very important message. Public Enemy stood for our people. Kanye doesn't represent me. Mike says F all them politicians. Now I want to talk about this because I've been hearing a lot of Obama hasn't done anything for black people in 8 years. Donald Trump is not doing anything. And I'm just like, dude, y'all failed to realize that regardless of race or creed, these are politicians. They're not for anybody. They're for the collective. They're not for a certain, demographic at all. Their job is to serve a general public, and it may not always include you or people like you. They may not be able to push a selfish agenda for people that look like themselves. Right. So you got to be aware that even though they are public servants, they are not activists. It is not their job to be activists. It is not their job to somehow find ways to give niggas a family discount. Like that.
Politicians or musicians?
Politicians.
Okay.
It's not their job. And they can try their best to put things in place and package it as if it's better for the greater good, and it actually also benefits people of color, but their responsibility is to running the country, not necessarily advancing certain groups of people or benefiting certain groups of people. It's just not. They have to act in the general interest.
The agenda around politics is always centered around greed and evil, and it always comes back to money. You know what I mean? So even putting yourself in a position as a Kanye where you have a platform to speak on politics, it puts music, it puts artists, it puts black people in a compromising situation. And what I mean by that is now we literally have to choose a side.
No, we don't.
I mean, that's what in the court of public opinion.
No, you know where that started? I'm going to tell you where that started. That started with 9/11. And Bush came on his little podium and he was like, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And he started creating this polarizing environment where you had to be one or the other. In the age of the moderate politician, you were not forced to pick a side. You were able to consider both and make a decision somewhere in the middle that worked for everybody else. But Bush created an environment that was super polarizing, that was fear-mongering, and it actually got more of his agenda accomplished because of it. And so now we just sit in that. But you can do both. You can actually like not agree with one side but also see that they have a point.
Right.
And it's the same like with Kanye. I respect what he does. Am I going to wear a Make America Great Again t-shirt? No. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, yo, I can understand that he's going to have his own feelings and his own agenda and his own
Trump?
Kanye.
Oh, okay.
His own position. And he's trying to convey to everybody else that no, we don't have to think alike. We don't have to participate in groupthink. Erykah Badu did the same thing.
And you can still like my music.
And I can still biz with you. And I can still think you're for us.
I could honestly believe that there are more successful black Americans that voted for Donald Trump, people that we idolize. That
I don't want to talk about that. It's going to hurt my feelings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in denial.
I bet you. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to that discussion. I mean, I actually want to research that.
That's pretty interesting. So Anthony Bernard Ellison says Kanye is now a figment of pop culture that rap is now a part of. Mike says local government is way more important to me. Me as well. I do participate in our local elections.
So what would you do if one of your local politicians actually spoke in support of a Donald Trump, but they just might happen to be a Democrat?
That wouldn't happen. Ryan Biggs' biggest issue is misinformation. Anthony Bernard Ellison says stop thinking president is the end all be all. The president isn't the end all be all. You're more effective in your local government.
The thing is, with the presidency though, symbolism is incredible. It's very important when it comes to how the country's being represented. You know, if the fact that Donald Trump was elected president says a lot, but in order to rebuild something, you definitely have to destroy it. One thing I liked about the Trump presidency is he didn't have to be bought by anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like he came with his own money. And
then he bought everybody else.
And he bought everybody else. And it just literally exposed the country like, yo, we still have a problem that we have never addressed. And literally, it was cool to say, oh, yeah, a black person could be president, but it's not cool to say anybody could damn near be the president in this country. Like, let the rock.
And Kanye was saying, like, it wasn't until Trump got elected that I realized even I could be president. Right. That's the realest ish that ever came out of somebody's mouth about the presidency. Right. Once Trump got involved into the presidency or the presidential seat, it was like, yo, it's a free for all in the White House. It's the Wild West. Anybody with a fat enough check can, you know, run a campaign and possibly win over seasoned, reasonable politicians.
And be a gimmick.
And actually get the chair, though. Yeah. Actually lead the country. Yeah. So we got to be mindful. This is a testament to the power of the uninformed voter.
The presidency is Migos rap today. That's what it is. It's a gimmick. Is that Mr. Frosty playing?
Yes, it is. It's a banker.
Ice cream.
Hey. So Big says Trump was in a way needed for exposure. Kenneth Collins says you think he wasn't bought. Everybody's bought in politics, sir. Like, let's not act butthurt and confused. Right? Like, let's not do that. Like, politics and corruption and all of that is tied to money. Somebody bought somebody to get somebody somewhere.
And let's keep it real.
The first lady is bought.
Let's keep it real. Black people like Donald Trump back in the day. He was in a whole lot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was in a whole lot of rap music. He was in the WWE. He was walking in boxers, you know what I mean? He was on Video Soul and all that type of stuff.
Because, you know, to build wealth, you got to build relationships.
Yeah.
And he was liberal at one point.
That's unfortunate.
So just be mindful of the people we put in office in 2020. Okay?
Yay versus the people. See, the problem is people are going to try to go out and convince the world that, hey, we're not supposed to support Kanye West, blah, blah, blah. But it to me, it's okay to have a political view and still support somebody's talent, their craft.
That's true.
Again, we all have different political, spiritual, you know, relationship type of differences, and we still hang out with these same people. You know, there's a whole lot of people that will, in a circle that you may run with, that probably voted for Trump or probably voted for Hillary
Do
Clinton.
you believe that political views and political preference is in line with a person's values?
That's a tough question because I think, in the words of Charles Barkley, I don't want to quote the Chuckster.
What you are?
More black people, if we had money and understood it, would be Republican, and I wholeheartedly believe that. I think the middle class African American is in a tough spot when it comes to politics because there's really no political party that is doing anything for the middle class.
But no one's serving the poor either.
Right. Well,
they're all catering to the wealthy.
I mean, I disagree with that, and I'm gonna say it. They're catering to the poor by keeping them poor. Does that make sense? By
giving them subsidies,
keeping them
dependent on them.
Crime drives the whole system. You put people in prison, and you're talking about the drug money. You're talking about illegal weapons. You're talking about a whole lot of criminal activity that funds a lot of the BS that starts at the top.
So we're still enslaved.
We have been enslaved for 500 years, and it continues. I asked
yourself from mental slavery.
I'll go back to that later.
Yourself.
Don't let me forget that slavery. Keep
so,
that
anyways, so I kind of asked this question because, you know, Kanye is Kanye, and Kanye's work is Kanye's work, and how you consume Kanye's work versus how you consume Kanye are two different things, but you can still accept one and reject the other.
Right.
So it made me think about Bill Cosby.
William Cosby.
William H. Cosby has been convicted of pretty much drugging and raping this Constrand woman, whatever, Andrea Constrand.
Yep.
And where there's a lot of cognitive dissonance about should we pull the Cosby Show because of his transgressions, or is our support of the show aligning us with accepting his behavior?
I don't think so, because again, how many other great actors and actresses were on the Cosby Show that people can benefit from, to see their work, to see their growth in entertainment? You know what I mean? I just feel like that's weak. There's so many people in entertainment. If we really want to keep it a buck, Jay-Z. There was growth from Jay-Z, but he was a criminal. He participated in the criminal acts back in the day and grew from it. I
think drug dealing is kind of almost synonymous with like bootlegging in the 20s. You feel me? Like, no one's looking at bootleggers in the 20s as saying you're a horrible person. They're like, oh, you're just a criminal.
Yeah. So we take rape. We're
taking rape where you're violating and victimizing people.
I definitely understand.
It's a little different. You know what I mean? Now, here's what I believe, because I'm very anti.
There's a lot of rape in music, though.
There's a lot of misogyny. There's a lot of rape. There's a lot of negative things. Like, I was listening to music today, and I was just listening to all these kids talk about popping Xanax, and I'm like, yo, they're talking about popping Xanax. Like, you could just go to the store and buy one and like get to know what it's about. Like it's the coolest thing. And I was like, is this what it sounded like when our parents were hearing our artists talk about sipping 40s?
I think from our parents' standpoint, they heard beats. They heard the music sounding like fast, repetitive, and they didn't feel like that was music. They didn't hear the instruments. They didn't hear the natural voices.
We're digressing.
Bill Cosby. William H. Keep us focused, people. You got one job to do. Well, two. Watch and keep us focused. William H. Cosby.
So here's the thing. I feel like that man should rot in jail. I'm completely in line with that man having the book thrown at him in all of his 80 years. I don't care. He needs to be violated the way he violated these women.
Okay.
Now, for what he's done, for what he's admitted to doing, okay? So I don't feel sympathy for him. I understand his legacy is his legacy, but his legacy is not his character. His character is rotten. His character is rotten. And so therefore, and we gave him so much respect because of his legacy, and we gave him so much reverence because of what he did for people of color on a platform. Yeah. But there was a woman, because the same thing with Nas and Khalees, right? People were asking, what is this? How do you feel about this Nas and Khalees thing? And she was saying, like, my friend was dating a guy. And on paper, he looked really good. He was in the army. He had friends in the force, law enforcement. He knew people in good places. Like, and he was literally torturing and stalking his girlfriend and keeping her put. Like, he got her arrested and bonded her out. And the person who arrested her was a friend, a police officer friend of his that got her arrested. So, and he was saying, she said at the end of this whole diatribe, she said, yo, do you know what it feels like when the allies of your abusers put him on a pedestal? Like, does anybody know what that feels like, to be with someone who is just entrenched with respect and love and has social influence, and yet they're torturing you? Are the source of all of their toxic energy. They beat you, they rape you, they degrade you, and no one else will believe it about this person because they know something so different.
That's what makes it so difficult for a lot of these women to come out. And a lot of people, you know, a lot of men and women, because I'm not just going to say the men are doing it. There's something about rape culture and domestic violence where I'm starting to see, I don't know if it's a trend, but there's a lot of women coming out defending the Bill Cosbys, defending the Nas's, and defending the Fabulous, you know, when these situations, I don't believe it. I want to hear both sides.
Is that a lot of those women have also been abused sexually or had a domestic violence incident, and still in their experiences lack the empathy or the ability to sympathize with people who experience the same shit they did.
Right.
And that detachment, I think, is how they cope. It's denial. It's absolute denial. And I actually had a big, you know, conversation about how that other side of the coin thing is just really, no. You can't do the other side of the coin when both sides of the coins are not equally as weighty. Well,
just to play devil's advocate, since you brought up both sides of the coin. So on Facebook, again, I see a lot of stuff. One of my friends, associates, posted a similar statement about that. How come we can't examine both sides of the coin when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to rape? I've actually touched on that in the past, you know, in previous shows, about the importance of making sure you have the story straight, not just jumping to the conclusion on a court of public opinion. Like somebody says, oh, if it came out Jay-Z been raping Beyonce for her whole life, as soon as that drops, everybody's going to say Jay-Z's the rapist and he's raping everybody and he's done everything, but without actually providing the full what happened and who did this and how, you know, everything played out. There was an incident where there's a football player recently who just joined the NFL last year. He's a pretty good, Reuben Foster is his name. He had a domestic violence case thrown at him. His girlfriend told everybody that he beat him up, but as time went on, they did more digging and text messages confirm and a whole bunch of stuff. It comes out that she told him, if you break up with me, I'm going to ruin your career. And I'm going to tell everybody.
I think she needs to go to jail for that.
That should be definitely be illegal.
She should go to jail for that.
When I first heard the story, in my head, I'm like, CTE, throw the book at this kid, you know, another young and dumb. You know, I didn't necessarily know both sides of the story, but she set him up. And unfortunately, one story like this makes it bad for thousands of women who that are legit lying, telling the truth. You know what I mean?
So Ryan Biggs says, so this is my area of passion and I'm a victim advocate for Navy. Thank you for your service, Mr. Biggs.
Yes, thank you for your service, Mr. Biggs.
And thank you for actually advocating on behalf of victims of abuse and assault. All accounts of sexual abuse or assault should be taken seriously, and absolutely they should. And I think too, in fairness, you know, if you want to talk about the amount of people who are lying compared to those who are telling the truth,
that's another thing.
It's an absolute exception versus a rule. However, out of the people who are lying, I would like to believe that those people do get uncovered, especially in this day and age where you really can't get away with nothing except killing Tupac and Biggie.
And they know who did it. We know you did it. It's only a matter of time.
So, and I do have like this really, I have a deep affinity or a deep passion for, you know, domestic violence and sexual violence because of the fact that, like, I know for a fact that when you are, I grew up in a very harsh family. I didn't get sexually abused, but I do know how it feels to take ownership of bad things that happen to you. Right. You own, if I didn't do this, if I had just done something different, if I was in a different place at a different time, then this wouldn't have happened. If I just approached the situation differently, this wouldn't have happened. And so they don't say anything because they hold themselves responsible before the public does. So when someone has the audacity to publicly say, yo, I've been violated. I've been harmed unnecessarily. I've been victimized unnecessarily by somebody who on the surface and on paper is supposed to love me. After I've gone through and processed all that personal responsibility for my own torture, to then have to validate and defend the integrity of my experience to the public, who now is also holding me responsible for my own torture, that's making me second guess whether or not I was even worth it was worth saying anything. It's a battle the whole way through just to be acknowledged and validated in your experience,
especially people that are in power, because you have to go up against a lot, emotionally, physically, and just to kind of, in the day of social media where everything just spreads like wildfire, you literally can't hide from anything unless you turn your damn cell phone off. Like, it's just always, oh, well, even with this Nas Khalees thing, Khalees is crazy. I could totally believe she was beating up on Nas. It's just the people's heroes, when they get it when they get tunnel vision when it comes to people's heroes. You know what I mean? And that's not right.
Ty said it's like 1% to 2% that are actually, I guess, lying. And Ryan Biggs says, I hate that women get asked questions like what she's wearing and such. And I do too. And I people call it victim blaming, and that is what it is. But you know what I realized too, and Ryan can help clarify if I'm wrong. People who have been fortunate enough to not experience being violated by somebody else are completely disconnected from the possibility of it happening. I had a conversation with some gentlemen about the Bill Cosby thing, and I was, the questions were, why did it take so long for them to talk? Why, now? Why when he's this old? Why not get him in his prime when it could have really hurt his career? And I was explaining, I'm like, you really don't understand that fear is a real and powerful thing.
And Cosby's a real powerful man,
and people don't understand that. And so when you're in that space, when you're in the space of basically someone who is a giant amongst mere mortals, and you say to this about this person that everybody loves and admires, that they've done something absolutely heinous, the rest of the world is trying to preserve and maintain the image of the hero before he has to. And they're going to look at you like, well, what do you have to gain from that? What is your reward for saying this about? You're just trying to get attention. You're just trying to get a check. You're just trying to, and you want the fame. And the thing is, it is possible for people to take the spaces that they've created in their success and hide behind it so that they can do some really sick shit to people. Like, even Tiger Woods. Ty says, John fired to take a trees. Ryan Biggs is completely separated. It's so hard to come out in public, does not understand the courage it takes. And speaking back on the fear point, right? They were like, well, if you're scared, why didn't you fight for your life? I'm like, there's two responses to fear. There's fight and there's flight. Not everybody has the audacity, or nobody knows their strength in a moment of powerlessness to say, I'm going to fight for my space, for me not to get violated. And they were like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, so I asked him, I said, okay, let's say you were in the room, because he was a man. I was like, what if you were in a room with another dude?
You said your son?
No. I was talking to the gentleman.
Oh.
And I was like, what if you're in the room with another dude, right? He's twice your size. He got you locked in the basement, and the only way you can get out is if he lets you out.
Wait, what is he trying to? He's trying to take the cheeks?
He just decides that he wants to beat you behind. He wants to take you down for whatever reason. And you looking at this dude, and you don't know if you could square up with him. You drunk. You're high. You don't know if you really have all the faculties necessary to take this man down.
What do you do in that situation?
Your first thing is going to be, how can I get out?
Right.
If you can't get out, how can I defend myself? If you've decided you can't defend yourself, you're going to relent to whatever conditions you have to get out the situation as much intact as possible.
That's what happens in prison.
So some people actually have to think, and women especially, who are smaller sometimes in frame, who are not always in control of the environments that they are stuck in, oftentimes don't say no to having sex, but we'll relent to it so that so nothing further can happen. Yep. And so it's the fight or flight thing. Sometimes it's complete abandonment of yourself so that you can just get out of the scenario in the moment. And I think nobody really understands how fear works in those situations. And I think the more that we continue to know what trauma looks like, what fear looks like, what powerless and what control dynamics look like, then we will be more empathetic to people who do say out loud, listen, I've been raped, I've been beaten up, I've been in an abusive, mentally, financially, emotionally abusive relationship, and it's given me trauma. Like it's actually affecting me in a real way. Then we will learn to be more empathetic and sympathetic to those people, because you don't really understand those dynamics until you've had a moment where you felt like your power was taken away from you.
So let me ask you this question. Again, this is just me asking. You know, we have kids. You have a son, young son. Not to put your business out there like that. My bad.
I got to. Shout out to Malcolm and Layla. Hey, baby.
What do we do? If I had a son, I ask myself this question because, you know, we're very hardcore on not being able to play both sides. We got to be very delicate when it comes to getting this right and questioning a woman that's been in a domestic situation or, you know, something as terrible as rape. If it was my son, how thorough would I want this investigation to go? If he tells me I did not rape that woman and I never put my hands on her, you know what I mean? Like how
I would
in that situation when it becomes real and it becomes personal. You know, we talking about somebody's child. How do we then turn that light switch off where we're so gung ho like we can't look at both sides of the coin? But in this situation, this is my people's, and I believe them. That may not necessarily be your hero.
That's a natural reaction is to want to defend the people you love from having their quality of life taken away from them. Yep. It's a natural feeling.
Do you feel like people take that natural feeling on a personal level and attach it to celebrities?
Absolutely, it's worse with celebrities. Because here's the thing, with a child, you took care of that child. That was your time, your blood, your sweat, your whole investment of yourself was in that person. Right. So when your child does something, it almost feels like it was a reflection of you. You take responsibility for that behavior. When a celebrity does something like that, what happens is you've built a relationship with the experiences they've provided you. Yep. They made you smile. They got you out of that jail thing, or they kept you off the streets, or they made a song that you will never forget that kept you from killing yourself. They are so attached to that experience that they align that experience with their character, not realizing that it's two separate
like
things.
You said, personal experiences that they've gone through. You know what I mean? Ty says, I work with this every day, and it's really difficult to parents. Yeah. I watched a documentary on Netflix. So there's a show called Killer Kids, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Yo, if you got Netflix, watch Killer Kids. I learn a lot, so I lock my door when I go to sleep at night. So little Billy, let's call him Billy. It sounds like the appropriate name.
Child killer name. Sounds right.
He got it in his mind that he was just done with his parents. He just, look, you guys asked me to clean my room too much. Like, this is how petty it was. You asked me to clean my room too much. Can't come home when I feel like it. 12, 13-year-olds. Kid. Oh, I don't want to do my homework. You know what? I'm going to get the shotgun and I'm killing everybody. He shot his sister. He shot his father in the head. He shot his mother in the chest. The parents lived. The siblings did not. So the kid was sentenced to life in prison and he was tried as an adult. Now, the parents have been fighting for an appeal for years, trying to get their son to come back home. They go to visit him in jail. They publicly forgave him. And it's just like, we love you. We want you to come home.
That's enabling.
I know you're sorry. You didn't mean it. You know what I mean?
That's enabling. There's a difference between believing in your child's integrity as a human and then having their integrity on full display and still trying to have them escape the consequences of their behaviors.
And justifying the love portion of it. Like at some point, like you said, from an enabling stance, how is it that that parent or people can still remain that attached to a situation, even when the evidence is as clear as day as R. Kelly getting peed on by a 15-year-old
Because
girl?
they have no stake in the experience of the victim. They only have stake in the experiences provided to by the celebrity.
Yeah.
If I don't know this chick. It's like biting the hand that feeds you, right? Your mama fed you a meal every day.
She ain't do that to me.
She fed you a meal every day. And then somebody says, not your mama, but like somebody says,
not my mama, Lord, not my mama.
You know, so-and-so was stashing bodies and torturing them and keeping them starved and letting them dehydrate and killing them, letting them just die of starvation. You're like, but my mama gave me a meal every day. I don't know who are these kids? Where'd they come from? Right? Like
Don't talk about my
you're
mama.
gonna question the unknown more than the known. We don't know the victims. They are faceless and they are voiceless. They have no influence. We have no investment in what happens to them. If they got raped 1,000,000 times and suffered from PTSD as a result of it, we saw none of it. We hear none of it. We don't really care because we're removed from it. But we know that Bill Cosby introduced us to the pudding pop. You know, he made us like cootie sweaters and hoagies at nighttime.
Yes, he did.
He cracked us up with all the filth that Richard Pryor was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we built a connection that's a superficial connection, but somehow was still influential and still imperative to our development as people. And here's a flip side though. Say that victim was a friend of yours, and they said, "Yo, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but Bill Cosby put a finger up my butt when I was sleeping, and I ain't like it." You gonna be like,
"Man, shut your
why
ass.
would you?
Are you
like,
serious?
you serious? you gonna and they were like, "No, I'm serious. Yo, like I was bleeding and it hurt, and like I don't know what to do because like who's gonna believe me?" The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna show empathy. You're gonna be like, "Yo, I don't know why you would tell me this." In your head, you're gonna say that.
Then it's like, "Yo," you always ask the follow, "Yo, what you gonna do?
Like, what do you need?" You're gonna start throwing resources at them to support them, because in that moment you don't want to be the asshole to be like, "Bitch, you lying." You know what I'm saying?
I mean, even in the moment, I've learned to just really shut my mouth and just listen.
That's important.
Because
that's important.
I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of people, not even a lot, but I know too many people that have been involved with domestic situations, rape situations, both men and women. You know, sometimes people come to me, they confide in me, we have these conversations, and I slipped up one time and I asked him, I said, "Yo, why are you just now telling me?" You know what I mean? And even that is victim blaming. You know what I mean? Something as simple as like, I'm making you literally feel guilty now.
You know what's
for coming to me up front.
You know what's crazy too though? Is that sometimes the victims are protecting their abusers. The victims are pretending they got so much going on for them. They're so important. If I put this out there, it's going to ruin their work and their legacy. And I don't want to be the person that, you know,
that's how abuse works, though.
That takes down their whole thing. I'm going to fall on the sword for this person. Because I'm not as significant or important as this person who was torturing me. So I'll eat this. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was a bad day. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's usually how it works. Victims of abuse and assault have a lot of reasons to stay silent more than they do to speak up. And I think the reason why a lot of people are saying to others like, "Yo, you need to believe people when they say they have experienced a violation," is because there are very few opportunities, there are very few safe spaces for people who have been victimized to articulate their experience, be validated in that experience, and then be followed up with resources to seek justice or to seek validation or to seek even closure for what happened.
And I think that's a big reason why this Cosby conviction was so important. Just so that women that have been victimized by people in power, they can have the confidence to say, okay, they took down Bill Cosby. You know, that was a big deal. So, you know, all these other entertainers that have been kind of getting away with it, they kind of have to be a little bit more mindful and, you know, think before they act. But because they realize now, oh, they could possibly be held accountable.
But you know why they don't think? It's because these people are used to being in control.
It's a power game.
It's always about power. Anytime you assert yourself in a way that renders another person without ability to defend themselves or without the ability to maintain their dignity and integrity in the process of whatever you're doing to them, you are absolutely in power, and people only feel comfortable when they're in control. Certain people only feel comfortable when they're in control. So when you stop thinking about rape as just a man wanting sex or a lust situation, or when you stop looking at domestic violence even as a man or a woman pissing a dude off and him just reacting, when you start realizing that those behaviors are to neutralize a person and to freaking disarm a person mentally or physically or emotionally, you start realizing how deep that root goes when it comes to why they become silent, why they don't look for anybody to advocate for themselves, and why it takes years and years and years of development, self-awareness, you know, just internal consciousness about who you are and what you need before they say anything about someone else.
What I dislike about the whole Cosby situation is, of course, the color comes into play. Well, they convict a black man, but all the white men kind of get away with it that are in positions of power. What about them? Kind of, it kind of takes away almost a little bit from the win of Cosby being convicted when you throw well, what about this type of situation in the mix? You know what I mean?
I think
you
could take issue with both things. I think you could take issue with both things. Again, you will never put me in a place where I sit here and say, oh, it's only wrong to convict Cosby because he's black and leave these. No, it's wrong on both ends.
Right.
Cosby deserves to get convicted because he violated women, and these white dudes who've been violating and abusing women for I don't know how long also need to be looked at and get convicted with the same justice and the same swiftness that Bill Cosby was. And Bill Cosby wasn't convicted swiftly at all, to be honest with you. So, you can care about both. And I know, and I saw something too, it said like black solidarity isn't standing behind a criminal because he's black. It's not wanting to declare justice for somebody who's been raping and violating women admittedly because they're black. That's not black solidarity.
Right.
Like, I think part of caring about your people is holding your people accountable. And if your people are being reckless and are endangering others and are harming others and are actually destroying your community, then you need to make sure that you hold them accountable so you're protecting the greater good and not just the favorites in the group. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Now, when it comes to holding people accountable, I mean, it's safe to say, like, because you kind of outlined it before, violating someone's personal space, murder, physical and mental abuse is like at the top of the mountain as it comes to a person's personal deeds. Like, you have the Dr. Kings, and you have the Elijah Muhammad's, and you have the Malcolm X's, and you have the Huey P. Newtons. That, Huey had a issue with that as well, when it comes to the women in the Black Panther Party. But Huey's still Huey. He still receives the respect and accolades that he's given as being an instrumental part of that specific movement. And there's nobody really going to ostracize him publicly, and disregard all the work that he did in that piece, kind of forsaking the fact that he did abuse women.
I think what we need to stop doing is like idolizing people as these superhuman beings. I think what we can do is we can admire the acts, we can admire the contributions, but we can still also acknowledge the humanity in these very regular people who did extraordinary things.
Do we allow these people to be human, though?
No, we don't.
We don't allow. I think there's certain
we
places.
deify them.
There's certain places we don't allow people to be human. That's politicians and people in the pulpit.
But I think because we deify people who do extraordinary things, we give them space to do vile and heinous things, and we give them this cloak of like invisibility because we want them to still be an icon or a beam of hope or a beam of opportunities, or we want to make sure that we align ourselves because they still, even though they've been doing these horrible things, they still have these resources at their disposal that you can benefit from, right? If we stop looking for how we benefit from certain relationships and just start looking at the person we have a relationship with, we'll feel easier about the fact that, one, what we see ain't always what it is. Everything that glitters ain't gold. Right. And two, it is okay to hold that individual accountable for the behaviors that are not acceptable societally at all. Like, it's a matter of separating the man from the deed. And once you know how to do those things, it ain't that hard to process the idea that R. Kelly was raping young girls and deserves to go to jail, or that OJ murdered a woman and deserves to be has a book thrown at them for that. Like, it's not okay to have vile representations of humanity, black, white, Puerto Rican, or whatever, and still, protect them because they made us smile for a moment in life. That's not.
It's tough.
It's tough, but it has to happen.
People are so conflicted. I mean, watch the Cosby Show, y'all. Like, you're not gonna be this demon child that is a supporter of Cosby. No. It's more, if anything, it's a fictional character. Right. If you like the Cosby Show, watch the damn Cosby Show. Yeah. Even if you buy R. Kelly's music, I don't, as a personal choice anymore. R. Kelly, everybody knows what R. Kelly meant to me back in the day. Listen. I was a diehard R. Kelly fan. But play your 12 play. And
play classic.
Play all his classics. And if you want to go to his concert, go to his concert. You know, it is. I think I'm not going either. I'm not going either. I'm not going. I mean, I did go. I'm lying. I did go. I went 2 years ago, but I had got free tickets though. I ain't paid.
Listen, if I bought the CD 10 years ago, I'ma still play it. Before I knew anything, I'ma still play it because it's still experience.
I will publicly. Well, the difference is with the music. Music speaks to people spiritually. Mm-hmm. I honestly can't tell you who R. Kelly was singing to, so it makes me comfortable. You know what I mean?
Like, it would make me uncomfortable because I don't know.
Well, uncomfortable. That's what I mean. So his lyrics kind of like, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump. Why? Seems like she's ready. Why does it appear that she's ready? Like, what's really
Is she not fully developed yet?
Oh yeah. She reminds you of something, huh? What exactly?
Like a woman-ish?
Not a woman. She don't remind you of a grown woman. What's going on? Pied Piper? Really?
No, it's a little
Come
too
on,
much.
Man. It's just too much.
It's a little too much.
Like, you know, Malcolm X is one of my greatest American heroes, and I know he had an issue with domestic violence. Mm-hmm. Can I not idolize this man? Like
you can idolize what he's done. You can appreciate his contributions,
and I could take his human side as it being what something that was a part of his culture, something that
the hypocrisy of man.
Okay.
It is the hypocrisy of man.
I'm not perfect either. So
no one is.
So there's somebody out here that could look at my works in the community, you know, and find one thing about me that I've done personally and then be like, oh, you're a fraud.
And guess what, y'all? Everybody ain't gonna like you. And that's fine.
Right.
All you could do, as I said before, is be the best version of yourself.
Right.
As long as you're the best version of yourself, then you don't got to worry about those who don't like you because you understand that you are trying your best to be a decent human being. And I think it doesn't take much to be a decent human being.
Right.
Like,
and I think that's a God-given common sense thing to me. Mm-hmm. Of course, you got the social conditioning that plays a part of it, you know, where you grow up and, you know, the people you surround you, your parent, everything, I guess, always starts with parenting. But the village that's, you know, people will say you can manufacture a criminal. You know, people go into prison, a petty larcenist, but come out knowing how to, you know, build a trap house. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think people just undervalue their own power. I've been saying that for a while now, though.
You have power, Katrina.
Everybody has power. You have the power to
Where
determine.
Where did this power come from? Ancient Egypt, maybe?
Shut up.
Oh, great Pharaoh, you? Leader of
shut up, many nations.
Yo,
shut up. Anyways,
conqueror of the Nile.
You make me sound like Thanos. Like, stop.
Master of Thanos,
destroyer of worlds. Like,
go see Avengers, please.
I heard there's like a candlelight vigil and repast. I heard.
I'm not even gonna spoil it. But
I'm hearing that everybody going through some real mourning right now.
All I'm saying is, I left the theater singing,
I didn't watch it yet.
There is power. Power, wonder. I left the theater calling on the mighty name of the Lord.
Did they kill Cornbread?
Oh man,
did Cornbread die?
Cornbread, everybody, man.
Cold Cheese died too.
Cold Cheese, they done killed Cold Cheese. Ricky, oh Lord, have mercy. They threw Mufasa off the.
Oh my God, not Mufasa.
Oh man, that was a good movie though. That was a good movie. It had a lot to do with power.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm super excited. Can I just say that I appreciate that we're both on like our natural tip right now? Like we got like this.
Yo, I was gonna give a disclaimer and apologize to the people, but my barber was kind of busy yesterday. And I just said, you know what? Let me just do a little dry twist.
Listen.
You know what I mean? The part ain't showing like that no more. But you know what? I don't
but it's fine.
Ain't nobody checking for me in these streets.
We live from the head down and not the feet up.
Right. I'm tapping into my for Wakanda. You know what I mean? We gotta keep it growing. Back in the day, you know, I was a colonizer. I put a little process in my hair.
Put some conch in your head.
Yeah. I made it slick back for the Miami Nights. But you know what? You know, I got right.
Looking like Cuban Pete.
I'm gonna let it grow. I thought about dreads for a second. My wife wasn't feeling it.
No,
like at all. No.
Really?
She hit me with the no.
With the twist, no.
I said let me try it. I said let me try it. She said nah, not feeling it. But see, she wasn't feeling this length at first either until I cut it, and she was like, "Why'd you do that?" See, make up your damn mind.
I like low cuts too, though. I ain't gonna lie. Low cuts are kind of my thing. And do you think that hair preferences are something that you should consult your spouse about?
100%.
Really?
100. That's not even a joke. I'm not even joking.
Get out.
If you're dating someone casually, you're kind of dating. But the moment you become, in my opinion, boyfriend and girlfriend, alterations have to be discussed.
Get out.
100%.
Why?
Spouse, you absolutely have to have my approval.
Yeah.
Boyfriend and girlfriend, it's like, all right, well, I would strongly recommend that you don't. But if you do, I don't,
But what if she's just like that? She just expresses herself.
You can't come down here expressing yourself, talking about you're going to shave your head and we don't have a conversation. Like, I have to be sexually attracted to you for the rest of my life.
Right.
And it is your job to provide that sexual attraction. And the moment you don't do that, I am no longer responsible.
No, you one of those.
This is serious business. We have to have a conversation about this. Yes, I'm one of those.
So
you're breaking the contract. I'm dead serious. This is not a troll. I'm dead serious. You owe it to your significant other to have every tattoo, every mark on my body I have written by my significant other. Would you mind? Because I want another tattoo. Hey, would you mind if I got a tattoo of this here? No big deal.
Wow.
She came to me and said the same thing. Yo, I want another tattoo. My first question was why? Because she has a lot. And I'm not big on female tattoos like that. Depending on the placement. The placement of her tattoos are fine. I'm not big on sleeves. I'm not big on necks. I'm not big on hands, stuff like that. But she wanted a tattoo on her wrist. So I questioned it and I'm like, why? Articulate why you want. I can justify every tattoo I have on my body and tell you exactly. You were there for most of them.
Wow.
But tell me why you want this. Because,
See, I'm big on personal expression. I feel like as an individual, you have a right to do what makes you feel confident. And if you're confident, you should be inherently considered sexy, no?
No.
Because here's the thing, you would hate...
Men are visual.
But, okay, so you don't want a shaved head, but then y'all see somebody with a shaved head like India Irene, be like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous.
Okay, so let me preface this.
Or Erykah Badu.
Let me preface this. I did use the shaved head preference, or I have no problem with the shaved head.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I think it's sexy on a lot of people.
I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is, before she decided to get dreads, we had to have a conversation about it. And I had to be in support of the process because you got to go through
that funny phase.
You got to go through the phase, the transition. And my only thing was, I said, all right, if you get dreads, you just have to promise me the upkeep is what it's going to be. Now, if I have to, once I agree to this, now we're in a marriage, and I have to also make sure her upkeep is up to par. So if I got to come out of pocket, like, fellas, stop with the, I ain't got to pay for my girl's hair. Yes, you do. Sometimes you do. If you want her to go out, say we're going somewhere and her hair is not done, she's not on schedule for another 2 weeks. It's like, all right, what's good? I got this black tie.
Right.
I got this ticket for us, but what's good? When's your next appointment? I'll say it just like that. Like, all right, you going to the hairdresser today? I don't.
Right.
What you? All right, I'm not gonna ask you for the money.
Do you ever worry about subjecting her, or not necessarily your partner, but just wouldn't that feed into insecurity more than anything? Like, you're not good, and I don't know. Like,
it's honesty.
It is honesty.
You have to be fearless. And again, I know you hate disclaimers, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm a professional.
This is your relationship.
Yeah.
It's
so
fair to that. Yeah.
You have to be 100% honest and fearless in relationships, or else forever is a long time, yo. And even today, I'm back on my gym. Shout out to the guns. I'm back on my gym phase, right? So I'm getting undressed, and I'm like, yo, for the past 6 months, 7 months, you really sitting here have me looking crazy. Like, I'm looking crazy right now. You've never told me, like, yo, Trev, like, cardio. Maybe cardio
didn't bother her.
Did you ain't gonna jog today?
Maybe she was into you, no matter what.
Nah. You know me, and you know where I set my standards at, and you can't have me looking. If I'm looking crazy, you owe it to me to tell me that.
But maybe it didn't impact her sexual attraction to you. Like you saying,
women are, but again, there's an emotional connection there. So women,
you should have one too.
Okay, but at the same time, I don't need to have one. You get what I'm saying? I don't need you to say, "Oh, I love you today." We could have a whole argument right now, and if I need to bust it down, I'm gonna bust it down. There's a difference.
S. Will says, yes, that's that Mary stuff. Love it. So S, you would, I'm assuming you're a woman. I can't look at your picture too much. It's too small. But so you would tell your spouse how they should look, and if they didn't align with your visual aesthetic, your preferred visual aesthetic, you would disconnect from your partner? Or would there be, not like necessarily would you cheat, but would you feel like turned off by your partner because they looked a way that you really didn't ask them to?
Let's keep it a buck. Let's not act like our partners always look good.
No.
Okay, so we have to be able to have that conversation like, hey, that shirt ain't really what I was going for the night.
That's fair.
I've done that before, and sometimes it leads to arguments. But I'm going to be. Let me sit up because people. And if I sound like a jerk, I just sound like a jerk. Whatever. There's been times
you are a jerk
when I'll give you a recent one. So, Christmas pictures come. Mm-hmm. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Leslie Gomez that did a beautiful job on my Christmas pictures. She, she does her thing. Hartford stand up. Mm-hmm. So we getting dressed. I planned it. I paid for it. I said, I want my girls looking good. Mm-hmm. Get the hair done. Mm-hmm. Put the dresses on them. They can match. It'll be nice and cute. Black and red is the thing. Mm-hmm. That's the wave. That's what we going for. Mm-hmm. I walk in the house. I see my girls dressed. Mm-hmm. I see her dressed. Mm-hmm. Kind of. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go get dressed. You can get dressed after me. I'm verbalizing this. Mm-hmm. She looked at me like I'm already dressed. Mm-hmm. And in my head, I'm like, all right, let me set the bar. I go upstairs. Uh-huh. I grab my blazer game. Mm-hmm. I grab my bow tie game. Mm-hmm. I got the shoes right. And I walk down the stairs. Mm-hmm. And she starts putting on her jacket. Mm-hmm. And I said, where you going? I said, look at me.
Oh, shoot. And look at you.
And look at you.
Yo, oh look my God. That's fair. I think it's an honest conversation.
But that led to something heated. But I was okay with that for the better good of one of these pictures. And just being honest, like, level up for me. Like,
so
come on.
Eswell says, no, but I want my husband to be happy with how I look. I feel like that's important. Like, but I don't want to manufacture an aesthetic to please somebody if it doesn't make me feel good.
Right.
Like, I want my husband to be happy with how I look, but I also want to be happy with how I look. And that's a selfish thing. But I don't feel like I have to run everything by.
To what? All right, so here's the difference between men and women, right? Mm-hmm. You said it off a rip. Like, you're not doing this for us. You're doing it for you. Like, how you
I need
dress.
To feel confident.
Okay, so a man's job is also to make his woman feel confident, right? With his presentation of her, the lovey-dovey with her, the honesty with her, like the compliments, stuff like that. But it has to be real. It can't be manufactured, or else it's gonna feel false. You know what I mean? So I think you have to have the ability to communicate with the spouse or significant other maturely. So that you're not hurting their feelings. Like, hey, you need to get to the gym because you got rolls for days. You know what I mean? Like, that's rude. That's rude. Right. Or like, that outfit is whack. You can tastefully tell somebody that don't look right.
So S says, the guy I'm seeing now ain't feeling my starter locks, and I look at my empty ring finger and toss my little baby locks. Now, if I had a ring on my ring finger, I may have had to second guess it because I want my husband to be fully sexually attracted to me. You know what's funny about sexual attraction though is because it is, we'll go the extra mile to please an aesthetic, right? Like we got some of the baddest chicks in the world who are married and they still go outside of their significant others, still do
you said the women?
Men go out. They still go outside of their relationship.
All right, Mufasa theory. That's never going to change.
But here's the thing. So it's not about the aesthetic. It is not about sexual attraction. It's about you being pleased with what's in front of you visually, but it's not necessarily about maintaining sexual attraction, because your sexual attraction is going to be there whether it's for her or for somebody else, regardless. And it doesn't guarantee that it's always going to be with her, because when y'all are mentally disconnected, y'all really ain't sexually attracted.
But we will still engage in the sexual act.
But that's carnal nature, though.
Right.
At that point, you want friction.
That is... we will go to bed perfectly fine, knowing friction has occurred. That is the difference, and I don't know how to continue to put this out there, which is why sometimes a lot of wives will kind of let themselves go, because it has never stopped the friction. So in their mind, they don't see things as a problem. Or in the street, people could still be trying to approach them or whatever, so they don't feel like, oh, no changes need to happen, blah, blah, blah. But no. Let's just take monogamy off the table because there is no answer to what will keep a man home. So stop reading the freaking magazine.
Nothing.
It's personal choice.
He does what he wants to do at all times.
He doesn't. So there is no recipe. There is no blah, blah, blah. But as for me,
his own sense of accountability.
Right, I would like to feel like human nature allows people the opportunity to be truthful, but that's just not the case. It's just not. You know, before I started recording today, I didn't know what I wanted to wear. I was feeling insecure about my hair, so I grabbed the little tight shirt that was downstairs. She looks at me. She says, "No, that shirt is way too small." In my head, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm about to just do me because I do me, and I don't care. I wear baggy jeans, whatever. I do me.
I definitely did that today.
She told me that wasn't what it was, so I changed my shirt. You know, she didn't want me to play it myself.
Because
so it is what it is. I don't care if somebody cracks jokes, but
I think it's
didn't
fair
want to
that
represent.
your partner says, "Yo, that ain't gonna work."
Right.
Like, if I looked crazy, I would want somebody to tell me. But at the end of the day, for instance, if I decided that I wanted to do a completely platinum blonde afro, then that's just what I want to do, and I know I'm not going to do that.
If your significant other says, I don't mind if you do that.
No,
go for
it. It's happening because I need to know what I look like in a platinum blonde afro before I die.
So get a wig.
Okay, and I'm going to wear it and you're going to be mad anyways because it's still a platinum blonde afro. You just don't want it.
You can always take it off and go back to your natural self.
There's some guys who don't like weave. There's some guys who don't like natural hair.
I curled my hair one time and I asked, like, yo, would you be all right? I wouldn't mind seeing it, what it would look like. No problem. I had a mohawk. I asked. I had a very, very low cut Caesar. I asked. You know, cause if you're not with it, then you're just not with it. I'm not going to do it. You know, that's just how I roll.
I don't know. I think this is way too. It may be because I'm very expressive, and I'm not just expressive verbally. I'm expressive like in all things. All things. So like, if I again decide that today I want to, I don't know, rock a rainbow pinstripe suit because I'm feeling very flavorful today.
I also feel like you wouldn't pick somebody that had a closed mind.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it, and I've had many arguments about my aesthetic with a partner before, and how what I wore didn't make them feel comfortable, or what I wore didn't make them happy, or how my hair looked didn't make them happy, and so I changed the way I looked to please them, and I was unhappy with myself, and it didn't make our relationship better.
But do you see you see how possibly the approach could have altered?
I think it was
the
gentle.
Dynamic. You think it was okay?
I think it was gentle. It's just that here's the thing. I want to do what I want to do. I just want to do what I want to do, and I think I realized that I can't. In my singleness now, I feel like I'm realizing that I'm not in a place to work with someone right now if what they want to do is make me conform to what makes them comfortable. I'm way too rebellious.
Let yay be yay.
Yeah, like.
Let yay be yay.
And I'm pretty sure even Ye in all of his weirdness has an expectation of what his spouse should look like.
I mean, he's kind of demonstrated.
You know what I mean? So like,
you know, he's been picking some eye candies.
I mean, yeah, but
and all of their voluptuous nature,
right? And
weird. They're weird, but Kanye's weird.
Kanye is weird though. I think, but for me, it's more or less like if I don't have the space to be myself at my root and be in touch with me, then I can't be in touch with you.
We got a comment from Eve. Shout out to Eve. Eve was here a couple weeks ago. The guy, wrong message. Not just men, but people will do what they want to do. To me, it's not the aesthetics that will keep them or get them moving. What causes someone to cheat? See that, Eve? I got to stop you there. Got to stop you right there. You cannot really address how men cheat because it's not really in a book. It's like it's as smooth as a winter breeze. That's exactly it. It comes and it goes. It comes and it's very chilling.
Finish your statement. What causes someone to cheat is something deeply rooted. We should wear what we want and look how we want, but we should also tell our significant others about the things they are overlooking. That might be very important.
Right.
And then Eve also says, yes, the approach is very important, but in the end, we all do what we want to do. See, I'm not bugging. there's some people who just want to do them. S says, Trev, I don't know if you remember Max in college, dude gained
Yes, I
100
do.
pounds literally while
I
at
do.
Southern and dating me, and I was like, dude, let's go to the gym together.
Yes, I do.
He hit me with the, oh, why? Don't you love me as I am? You don't find me attractive no more. You shallow. 100 pounds though. I met you with abs. Now you're 100 pounds heavier. I agree with you, but okay, so there's some people who just care about the physical presentation, and there's some people who don't. I'm one of the people that don't.
I don't think
As long as
it's
you look like a
necessarily
slob.
caring about the physical, but this is not what you signed up for, B. Like, through thick and thin, death do us part. I get it, but once we recognize, all right, this is it's a problem. We can do this together. That's where the love piece comes into play, where I know your potential, and me, I'm not like a physical person, as well, but I still do have.
I prefer to
right. If you get out the shower, I want to be able to watch you put cocoa butter on. I don't want to roll over and just like freaking turn the lights off every time I have to use my imagination. I want you to be you. I don't want you to be whoever I want you to be at the moment of friction. So that's why honesty is an important conversation. Even sexually, people just aren't honest. You're like, people hate, did you like that? Tell the truth.
Oh, sexual honesty is very important.
It's extremely important.
Sometimes.
It has everything to do with your lifetime. One simple adjustment can change the dynamic of. It's just be honest
and remove
I didn't
the
like
ego.
That. I didn't like
the
it.
ego.
Hey, you know what?
But dudes are not open to that.
I don't give a damn.
There are a lot of dudes who are not open to that.
To be honest, it takes. People call me emotional and sensitive. I am not. I can take a joke. I can take a punch, and
you hate being misunderstood.
I hate being misunderstood. And like, allow me to clarify myself, and because sometimes I don't say things right, and I think, okay, so if I don't say it right,
better though. I'm really proud of you.
Because I'm humbling myself.
Yo, let's go, Trev. Thank you for growth.
More, shout out to reading. Reading is fundamental. The more books I read, the more I understand words and how to put them together.
Okay, anyway,
that's where I put it.
Being open.
Being open to criticism.
And sexual performance.
Anything. Like, just be honest.
And just get back on the horse, yo. You're going to fall off, but get back on the horse.
You don't have to be perfect.
No.
There's somebody out there right now that will knock the Doc McStuffins out of my significant other way better than me. Like, come on.
Unless you take the keys she's given you and you use them.
You got to change the oil. Fellas.
Whatever worked for the last chick ain't always gonna work for the next. Every girl is different, like a snowflake, and you need to learn your bitch's snowflake.
Yes. yes. So, ladies, run your hair adjustments by your boo. If he's not feeling it, how he says. Fellas, you can't be.
It's worth the conversation,
right? You can't be controlling and overbearing and trying to control. Oh, you can't go out wearing no shorts. Like, you can't be like that. I feel like the person.
I actually think that's okay. Yeah. I think that's more okay than telling me how I need to wear my hair.
I had to set a bar when I first, West Indians. West Indians have a different culture, understanding of what's body. Acceptable and I had to say one day, well, those shorts,
right?
Not with me in public, because that's asking for the wrong type of energy, and you don't want me to go there. I'm capable of it, and right. It's just gonna cause a scene, and we just can't do that in the gym.
So what's funny? Let me tell you something along the same line. So I'm very expressive, and I found myself expressing myself in a way that was very casual, but it turned into this very in-depth conversation, and I got an inbox from a friend who matters a little bit, and they were like, yo, I need you to not spark no shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what's going to happen, but here's the thing. I know this person, and I know the people around them, and I know the possibilities of things going awry are likely if they want to get ignorant enough and protect their image.
Right.
And I was like, I don't give a single damn. I've been funky like this since I was a young pup. Ain't nobody ever checked me. Nobody's going to check me. And if they decide to come pull up, I'm with the shits all day. And I was very spicy in that moment. And they were like, I understand, but I need you to calm down. Just for my sake. And I was like, you know what? I don't agree with why you want me to calm down, But because I understand that you care about my best interests, I'm going to chill and I'm going to stay quiet.
Let's chill.
And it was like a, you know, just an agreement. It's okay. I'm gonna humble myself and I'm gonna not be
mean.
I'm not mean. I'm honest, and I can take it just as well as I can dish it. So like, you can't come to me with the mess and me not eat you alive. It's gonna happen. Like I does this. Like, you know what I'm saying. So, yeah. So I was asked to calm down, and I did, and you know.
Look at you now, favored,
humbled,
blessed.
Humbled. I'm humbled.
So moral of that story, ladies and gentlemen.
Humble yourself. Everybody needs to be receptive.
Humble thyself.
Everybody needs to be receptive.
But at the same time, let Ye be Ye.
Yo, and let him support
let
Trump.
Ye be Ye. If
and
he
make
wants
Trump,
to support Trump,
the new nigga, and let him take the power of the Trump back and make it for black people in the only way Ye wants to do it. Because Ye is Ye.
Ladies and gentlemen, stop victim shaming.
Yes.
Let people tell their stories no matter who.
And stop protecting predators.
Right. The amount of people, men and women, that have lied about certain situations is so ridiculously low that it shouldn't be an issue when people are, you know, trying to express both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? You can't look at one person's lie and 10,000 women's truth influence the fact that, hey, we have to look at this closer because we could possibly.
And you want to look at the other side of the coin of everybody, all 1,000 of them,
right? Because
where there's smoke, there's not fire.
Right.
Let's use our practical sense. Please.
Yes. J. Cole's album was Still Flames.
1985, he arrived.
K.O.D. Bill Cosby, where we might disagree, I don't think he should go to jail. I think he should do house arrest, save my taxes.
He can ride.
And everybody in Massachusetts, let him just stay home with mom and them and all their names. Bill Cosby in prison.
Don't pick up the soap.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, intellectual foreplay. This is intellectual foreplay. I had a great time today.
I did too.
It was good. I missed y'all, man. I missed y'all.
Yeah,
shout out to the NFL draft. Philadelphia Eagles are still the Super Bowl champions. But you know, we're gonna make a quick announcement. We have just decided and talked today that we actually want to have an intellectual foreplay moment with 20 people. How about that? Let's do that.
20 is a good number.
20 is a good number.
20 people.
Let's have a draft. We're going to have a draft. I don't know.
By invitation only.
Invitation only.
And so what we want to do
is send out personal invitations. I'm going to do 10 girls. You can do 10 guys. What do you think?
That's easy. We could do that.
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, so,
and we'll have an intellectual foreplay moment where you guys can come and join the conversation.
And we'll have wine.
And we'll have liquor.
Yes.
And we'll have 10 most wonderful, intellectual, beautiful people in one place. And you can tell all your friends about how you were there getting enlightened and stimulated and drunk with the greatest set of folks.
Yes. And that is intellectual foreplay. Thank you for
welcome.
being vulnerable with us.
And open, enjoying the conversation.
Yes. So this is Mr. Nice Guy.
And I am Kay Nicole.
And we are signing off, and we will see you beautiful people next week.
Same time, same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Yeah. You know I'm Team Marvel all day. Why are we doing this all the time? Yo, why is your computer so fancy?
Spitting bars. Cars coming through. We're yours. All right, here we go. We out.
Right.